Good morning. Today is Monday, March 21st, 2022. This is the Urban Hope Refuge Morning Devotions. We are continuing our reading today from the 2022 Daily Bible Reading Guide published by the American Bible Society. For the month of March, we are reading under the theme, God's Renewing Word of Prayer. Today, we are reading Psalm 88, the 88th division of Psalm. We are reading from the New International Version. Verse 1. Lord, you are the God who saves me. Day and night I cry out to you. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry. I am overwhelmed with troubles, and my life draws near to death. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like one without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily on me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. You have taken from me my closest friends and have made me repulsive to them. I am confined and cannot escape. My eyes are dim with grief. I call to you, Lord, every day. I spread out my hands to you. Do you show your wonders to the dead? Do their spirits rise up and praise you? Is your love declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction? Are your wonders known in the place of darkness, or your righteous deeds in the land of oblivion? But I cry to you for help, Lord, in the morning. My prayers come before you. Why, Lord, do you reject me and hide your face from me? From my mouth I have suffered and been close to death. I have borne your terrors and am in despair. Your wrath has swept over me. Your terrors have destroyed me. All day long they surround me like a flood. They have completely engulfed me. You have taken from me friend and neighbor. Darkness is my closest friend. This concludes our reading for today of Psalm 88. I tried to show in the reflection of my voice the pain and the stress of the writer of the psalm as he prayed before God. And this psalm shows the experience of darkness also has its place in the life of faith. I want to repeat that again. The psalm shows that the experience of darkness also has its place in the life of faith. We feel many times that our walk with the Lord is always peaches and cream. It's always sunshine and a song of joy. But this Psalm 88, shows that the experience of darkness has its place in the life of faith. Psalm 88 reminds us that life does not always have happy endings. You have experienced that in your lifetime with people around you. Suffering and loss are part and parcel of our human experience, even for people who are devoted to God. And I think that all of us have witnessed this, understand this, and can attest to this over the last more than 2 years as we have lived through this pandemic. How can you find hope from the darkness? That's what this Psalm 88 is all about. How can you find hope from the darkness? One of the most difficult seasons we can endure is when we feel that God is silent, especially if we are already going through challenging situations. And if you note, I said, if you feel, the operative word is feel. If you feel that God is silent, God is never silent when it comes to us because he made us a promise. That promise in our covenant relationship with him, he said that he would never leave us or forsake us, although we may feel that he is silent. When it seems everything is going wrong and the help that we are looking for is nowhere in sight, it can leave a person feeling forgotten and simply rejected. Again, hear me, the operative words, feeling forgotten. Our major frustrations from these seasons come not only from simply being in what the writer called a pit, but we're thinking that God's silence means his absence. He is always there. A songwriter said he was always there. The author of Psalm 88 has not only been through this hard break, let me say that again. The author of Psalm 88 has not only been through this type of heartbreaking situation, but he writes about it. And now we're reading about it. Psalm 88 appears to be one of the saddest and most dismal chapters in the Bible. The writer expresses feelings of being overwhelmed. You know how that feels. I know how that feels when we're overwhelmed. We're cut off, we feel. We feel that we're forgotten. We're grieved. We're rejected. We're terrified. and despaired, but the writer expresses feelings of all of these emotions that I just described to you. And worst of all, the writer is crying out to God, wondering, where is God in all of his suffering? Have you ever been there? I have. The psalm ends saying, darkness, darkness is my closest friend. He says that in verse 18. However, the hope this psalm offers is not in its ending. It ended in verse 18, saying that darkness is my closest friend, but it does not end there. It's in its beginning. When the writer said in verse 1, a clear declaration of faith, he said, Lord, you are the God who saves me. Day and night, I cry out to you. He proclaims with no uncertainty in this critical state that he is in. It appears that he is at the point of death, no longer in the shadow of death, but he said that he is in the pit. And he says, with all faithfulness to God, Lord, you are the God who saves me. And then he went on to put his faith into action. He said, day and night, I cry out to you. Excuse me. Before his laundry list of everything that's going wrong, the psalmist takes the time and he acknowledges that there is hope for salvation in the Lord, even when it appears that God is silent. We learn that just because God is silent, it doesn't mean that he is absent. We may be consistently praying to God for the same thing. Early in the morning, we're up praying to him and we can't hear from him. But it does not mean that he is absent, because he is faithful to his word. And he declared that he is a man that cannot lie. No matter how silent, no matter how we feel about where God is or what he's doing, he made us a promise. And it seems that he is silent, but he is not absent. And it certainly does not mean that he is not working behind the scenes. For who? For whom? For us. He's working on our behalves. So do not be deceived by the darkness in your life. And listen, though we are saved and we love the Lord with all our hearts, there are dark days in our lives, because we are still living in this human flesh, in this realm of humanness. We make mistakes. We get hurt. There are so many things that happen to us in this life that brings about such a spirit of darkness in our lives. And it seems as if we can do nothing about it. Things happen to us. Things happen to the ones that we love so dear, to our children, to our spouses, and they are caused by people we love and that we trust. But listen, in those hours of darkness, we need never forget that God is always with us, even when we feel that we are in a pit, as this writer said in Psalm 88. God is there with you. Don't you ever forget that, regardless to what the challenge is. It seems as if people do things, they're getting away with it. They hurt us in the most hideous ways. But don't you ever forget the prayer that this writer prayed. He declared his faithfulness to God even in darkness. Now I challenge us to pray our way through the day, walk with the King, and be a blessing.